What's up guys, Rhino here and welcome to my latest FIFA 19 video. And this particular video guys, I'm going to actually be completing my first Futmas SBC of the year. Now it's been going for a couple of days now. There's been a few various SBCs that come out over the last sort of 3 or 4 days. None of them have quite tickled my fancy as of yet, not one that I've decided to actually invest in. I was very close to doing the Bobby Firmino yesterday. But I just kind of backed out of the last just because I didn't really enjoy his normal card too much. But the one that we are going to do in this particular video, guys, is going to be Emiliano Rigoni. No, I'm just kidding. Don't worry, we're not going to be that stupid. It is going to be Heung Sonaldo, the absolute man, myth, legend. He is a phenomenal player. I mean, he's going to be quite expensive. I'm going to say that right now, but you just cannot go wrong with a guy. His normal card is absolutely insane. It always is every year. And I'm so hyped to get my hands on this particular card. I mean, just look at the stats. Just the stats on the base card: 88 pace, 88 dribbling, 87 shooting, 79 passing, 72 physical. For a left mid, that's absolutely insane. We look at his in-game stats. So obviously 5-star weak foot, high work rate. He's 6 foot, so he's good at like a good aerial threat, like back post headers, things like that. Has 4-star skills as well. So everything you'd be looking for really. And then if we go a little bit kind of more in depth into all of his in-game stats: 87 finishing, 87 attacking positioning, 88 shot power, 90 long shots. Got everything you could wish for in terms of like finishing and like the shooting aspect of the game. Like passing stats are actually fairly solid, to be fair. Like he can cross the ball quite well. He's got a good curve. Probably the only thing he doesn't really have is like free kicks, but you know, we don't really get him for that. Decent composure, 83 composure, really good dribbling and ball control, things like that. 90 stamina. There's nothing about him which I look at and think, oh, you could work on that, mate. I mean, 66 jumping doesn't really matter because he's 6 foot, and like the 66 strength, I mean, that's false. I've used his base card and he seems a lot stronger than that. It might be because of his build and how tall he is, but he seems so much stronger than that. So we're going to jump in, guys, and get this guy done. Now there's only a few hours remaining. Like I said, it is quite expensive, but it is one of those things where, for me personally, because I've enjoyed his base card that much, and because of how good he is, there is no, you know, the value literally just, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, obviously it depends on like the individual in this situation. So some of you guys might have used him and didn't really like him that much. It is possible, you know. I know a lot of people really liked Roberto Firmino, but for some reason I've just never really clicked with him on any FIFA, to be honest. And as much as I would love to, because I mean I really like the guy in real life, but I just can't seem to use him for some reason on FIFA. So, and maybe some of you out here that don't like Son on the game, and that's why you wouldn't want to do him for such and such price. But for me personally, it's just an absolute no-brainer. But in terms of the actual like requirements for the squad, guys, you need at least 3 Premier League players, so that's not going to be overly difficult to get hold of. He only allowed 6 players from the same league though, so you've got to kind of split it up a little bit. The big thing is that you need at least 2 informs or want-to-watch players, and also it has to be an 86 rated squad, which is where the cost comes involved, to be honest, with the SBC. 75 chemistry as well, which, you know, that's not really too difficult to get, to be honest. A couple of green links here and there, and you're going to be pretty much sorted on that front. And if you do it in a similar way to how I've done it, in that I've just basically split it into 2 leagues, I've got like 6 players from one league and then 5 from another, then it does, yeah, you achieve the chemistry pretty easily, to be honest. Now, the way I started, I think there's not really like, you could say, oh, you can start with like your Premier League players, or you can start with any informs you've got in your club. Like I said, it can really sort of vary on the individual as to what you kind of already have in your club. But for me personally, the way I started is I went through and just looked at what high rated cards I had in my club already. Now the 2 informs I didn't have any informs in my club, actually, to be honest. Like, apart from one like 81 rated guy, which is obviously not really going to be enough in an 86 rated squad. So I had to buy the 2 informs. But then you just go through and try and link as many of the high rated cards you can as possible. Now I had Szczesny, who's an 84. A couple of these are actually paid for because they were from the Parolo. I'm pretty sure it's the Parolo weekly objective, where I had to make like an Italian team and then I kind of ended up merging it. It was like a sort of half Italian, half Serie A team. So, like, for example, obviously you still got Szczesny in goal. I mean, it didn't really matter. Obviously, he wasn't Italian because he wasn't going to score. Bonucci I already had from that as well. As you can see, it costs about 17k. Miranda is a first owner. So I had that little triangle going on there, which is a good link to kick it all off. Obviously, you know, you don't necessarily need Serie A players because there's no requirement on that. It's just the Premier League players that has the requirement. But in my own personal situation, that was the best way to go. Which is what I'm saying to you guys. If you have, you might have a couple of really high-rated Bundesliga players or BBVA players, something like that link together. By all means, go ahead and throw them in. If you're willing to part ways with those particular players and they link, get them in there because this card is definitely going to be worth it. And then it's just kind of build around. Like I had Insigne as well, and to be honest, like he cost me quite a lot when I first originally bought him, but I hated him. He's genuinely probably the worst player I've used in like the entirety of the game so far. That's like not even an understatement. Like I absolutely detest him. I could not use him. He's just way too small. So I don't care how much he cost me. I just throw him in because I will not use him ever again. And then because I had like those 4 players, I thought, well, you know what, I'll see if I can get my informs from Calcio A. And like for you guys, obviously, you probably want to try and get your informs from a different league to the Prem, just because you look at the requirements and you think, oh, we need like 2 informs and 1 to watch players. Oh, I need 3 Premier League players. So the natural kind of easy thing to do and the easiest way to go about it is to pick up Premier League informs. But obviously people know that, and therefore they cost a little bit more on the market, which is going to then boost the price of this SBC even higher and higher and higher. So I would kind of recommend to steer clear of the Premier League and just use just use base cards to get your 3 Premier League players in, which is what I've done. And then obviously in my situation, because I had the Serie A players, I've gone for Serie A informs. But like I said, if you had like BBVA or Bundesliga, and get some Bundesliga informs or BBVA informs, and that should work fine. But for me personally, like you see, I've gone for Gulam, who's an 84, cost me about 25k, and also João Mario, who was about 25k as well, another 84. So that works out pretty well for an 86 rated squad. I mean, obviously, it's meant that I've had to get a couple of 88s in there, but there's a few 88s out there that aren't really overly expensive. Like Insigne is obviously like 34k when I originally bought him for an 88. It's not really like outrageous. I mean, I think if you were to go out and get like an 86 rated inform, chances are they're probably going to be quite expensive. I didn't really look too sort of like in too much detail at them because I didn't really see the point. Just because a lot of these 84s, there's a few 85s to be honest that pop up around about 25k, but they tend to be from more obscure leagues. I did see like a Bruno Fernandes who plays for Sporting Lisbon, Portuguese midfielder. He's about 25k, something like that. He was 85 rated, but it was difficult to get the links really. And then from there, guys, in my own personal situation, it was just a couple of players which I already had. So like Otamendi I had as a first owner player who I packed the other day. I threw him in. And then I think I had Jorginho as well. Yeah, Jorginho, that was from the Italian team actually. Yeah, I was wondering why I paid for him. I thought I packed him, but yeah, Jorginho was another one from the Parolo SBC, so Weekly Objective, not SBC. So he's just straight in there. And then yeah, the other 3 players, we've got Bernardo Silva, Matic, and Lloris, and I had to pay for them. And that was basically just a case of get a few players that link together and just make sure you get the rated at this point. Like everything else is achieved. And just obviously like the chemistry as well. See, I want like 79 chemistry. I had to get just a couple of like little links going on really. So I've got like the green link between like Bernardo Silva and Otamendi, Miranda and João Mario link. There's a link between Insigne and Gulam, Szczesny and Bonucci obviously from the start there. So that obviously gets it. But in general, it's just kind of soft links. Like I was saying, it's pretty easy to get the chemistry. That's not kind of the main thing to look out for. The really tough thing to get is the rating, especially when you want to try and use the least amount of kind of like 87s, 88s as possible. I think like originally I had, I think it might have been like Handanovic or somebody in there as well as Lloris and as well as Insigne. But I managed to kind of like, weasel it around and just like maneuver the squad in, just mold it how I wanted to just about get 86 rated, but just at like a much like cheaper price. It was a cut price in comparison. I think I saved about 15, 20k by kind of chop and changing it around a little bit and putting a few players out of position. So Like Matic is only 18k that I picked up. Obviously 86 rated. He's probably one of the cheapest 86 rated cards out there, and especially considering he gets you one of your Premier League players, I would say he's a big go-to player for this SBC. Bernardo Silva's only like 5k. So he has an 84. So 84 is probably kind of the lowest rated I would say you want to be getting for players in this. I think if you get any players that are any lower, you're probably looking at needing a few more 88s, maybe even an 89. And I wouldn't recommend going to an 89 because most 89 players are, they're really expensive because they're really good in game as well. Lloris is the other 88 as well. So you can see I've got him up front, completely off Kemp, but that's just about getting the rating really, guys. 42k for him. Which is kind of a little bit because he's a Premier League player, so quite expensive really. He's the most expensive player in the team actually, but in terms of like an overall price for this, if you do it all from scratch, it's going to cost you at least 200k. Now I won't lie to you and say you can do it really cheap, but like I said, it's going to be a really expensive SBC. It's going to cost at least 200k. For me personally, I managed to do it for about 120, 130k, something like that. Obviously I had a few of the players in my club already. I only bought 5, but the issue for me is that even though I only bought 5 players, those players were, one of them was an 88 rated, 2 of them were the informs. So straight away, just from getting those 3 players, the price of it is going to stack up pretty quickly. Like I said, it just depends on your own personal situation really. You may be really lucky and you might have some players in your club already that you can just chuck in and do this for like dirt cheap price, but in my situation I still probably had to pay like at least 50% of the cost of this SBC. But like I said, because it's Heung Son, I really don't mind. It's just a card that I said all along, if he got a Futmas card I would 100% do it. I didn't really expect it to be as expensive as it was. I was hoping it might have been like 150k, something like that. Like I know Firmino was about 150, but at 200, I'm like, you know what? Screw it. May as well just do it. Get him in the club. He's gonna be right now. He's gonna be a phenomenal super sub, but he'll probably be. Ooh, what's he doing? A bit cold for this Christmas. Where's the snow? The confetti's not that cold, is it? He's blowing kisses to himself. Wow. Yeah, right now he'll probably be like a super sub, but I've had teams with Son, and also I tend to link him to like Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane is absolutely phenomenal in this game, so if I could get a team with like Futmas, Son and Kane to play them up front, that'd be incredible. And that's the big thing, guys. Like a lot of people were disappointed because he's started as a left mid, but you can so easily like use your tactics and stuff to mold him into a striker, like play him up front in game. You don't have to play him left mid in game if you didn't want to. So the options are pretty good really in general, guys. Like the options are kind of endless with that. But that is going to be it really, guys. Obviously that's kind of how you can get him done. Hopefully that was quite useful, and hopefully that was fairly clear as to how much it's going to cost and where you need to get particular players. Obviously, like I said, you don't need to it's not like overly specific, just the fact that you need like certain types of cards and stuff like that. But the way you can build it is entirely up to you and entirely like to how your club is. Have whatever suits you personally. Just try and get it done as cheaply as possible. And like I said, because like the chemistry only like 75, just like maneuver the players about and just put players out of position just to make it as cheap as possible for you. Like don't go out and buy like an 88 rated striker. Just throw a goalkeeper up there, because strikers are always more expensive because they're the players which everybody wants because they get you goals, they win you games. So go out there and get goalkeepers, and just they tend to be the cheapest players, like the cheapest position to buy. So throw them into your squad, and hopefully you can enjoy a Futmas Son as much as I'm expecting to enjoy him. Because I'm sure you're probably going to come up against him a lot as well in like foot champs, so I'm sure there'll be plenty of people out there that are going to be using him and absolutely loving the guy. But that is going to be the end of this particular video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, then feel free to leave a like, comment to let me know what you think about the card, if you think it is value for money. Obviously, unfortunately, there's not any kind of packs that you get from this one, so you wouldn't be able to let me know what players you've packed, and I'm not going to have any packs to show you here. Obviously, you can subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Also there's little like links in the description of the video to my like Twitter, Instagram, things like that, if you did want to follow me on there for any little updates, like little retweets of things, stuff like that. All the kind of usual business. But that is it from me, guys. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.